Running low on groceries? Why not visit realvalueiga.com and experience our new online shopping platform? Place your order, then go out and enjoy your day to spend more time with friends and family. Free delivery available within select locations or in-store pickup available. Sounds simple, right? It is. Stress less, live more with Real Value IGA online store, where good food begins.
Affordable quality products delivered to you via superb service. We are superb distributors, wholesalers and authorized agents for trusted products you know and love. Like Rika Juices, Pure Heaven products, Bibin diapers, New Bright laundry detergent, Allegra pasta and more.
Contact Superb Distributors at 435-2948 for superb quality and service.
We got the call on our way home that something was wrong. When we got here, we saw that the entire house was engulfed in flames. Just sitting there and looking at here, basically a whole life investment going up in flames. It did take a toll on us as a family. Once we decided to rebuild, the thought came up to use the Housing Authority of Grenada. After they sent in their quotation, which we thought was very, very reasonable, we decided to go with Housing Authority of Grenada. They were very helpful. They visited the site weekly. The staff was very professional. The contractor was very professional. They delivered our house on time. The quality of work was amazing. And as you can see today, we are not disappointed. I would definitely recommend Housing Authority of Grenada for all your construction needs. With their affordable costs, high level of customer service, guidance, and building expertise, they will help you as they help us.
Hey everyone, season's greetings from all of us at Allied Laboratories, and a special thank you to our Grenville family. We are celebrating 1 year of serving you.
Fit for life and Allied Laboratories, providing quality care and expertise. Fit for life and Allied Laboratories, see our in-house doctors and our pharmacies. Get expert care and quality tests. When it comes to your health, you deserve the best. Fit for life and Allied Laboratories, we're taking care of Grenada.
All right, beautiful. Well, thank you for joining us for another night. Of course, it's been a pleasure every night being here with you, man. Of course, we have so many things to tell you about. Prime Minister Mitchell to deliver first budget on December 5th since taking the top office as well. It's a big day for Sukie tomorrow as he heads back to court. And the police warns against purchasing stolen goods. They say that it is a problem that is escalating, and of course they want to curb it. You might be in problems if you find yourself purchasing stolen items. And the subtle forms of gender-based violence will be a topic of discussion on tonight's program for the second half of the program, we really would like to have you join us for that discussion. Very, very informative discussion that we'll be having with psychologists and, activists and so on. So we want to invite you to stay onto the program for that tonight. So we have all of that and more to tell you about, folks. We want to remind you that the headlines was brought to you through the kind compliments of Courts Grenada Limited, Digicel Nawasa, the Housing Authority of Grenada, Real Value IGA Supermarket, and we've got superb distributors and Infinite Contractors. So, folks, brace all yourself. We also have on board with us as well Quality Services Limited, folks. When we come back, it could be real news in Olelililolo. If you have not done so yet, we really would like you to share the program. Share the business, man. Somebody will win some credit on the business, all right? Anyway, we'll be back.
Infinite Contractors and Machinery. We are your one-stop engineering and consultancy company with experience locally, regionally, and internationally. We provide excavation services and engineering consultancy, construction of residential and commercial structures, civil works such as drainage, retaining walls, roads, concrete patio services, paving services, concrete driveway services, remodeling and renovation, painting services, styling services, and so much more. Ask about our rental services of excavators, heavy equipment, metal formwork, and steel prop. Contact us today via telephone number 537-9675 or email infinitecontractors19@gmail.com.
Gifts of love with dread, bringing love for you this year. Communion showing that we care. With gifts of love with
It's your Gifts of Love for Cheer 2.0. 'Tis the season for holly jolly days at the communal. It's all about sharing the warmth of this season with those you love. Getting on this special loan, taking advantage of great interest rates with no principal payments until January 2023. Share the gift of love. Make it a merrier Christmas with the communal. Exciting prizes for members throughout the promotion. For we are your Santa this Christmas. Offer ends January 31st, 2023. Lending terms and conditions apply.
All right, again, so we'd like to officially welcome you to tonight's program. Now, let's get straight into the business. Now, it's been announced that the Grenada government is into its final preparation, getting down to the task for the presentation of the country's 2023 budget, which is going to be happening on Monday. Now, it's going to be the first budget of the new Dickon Mitchell administration since taking over government control as a result of the 9-6 victory at the polls on June 23rd this year in favor of his National Democratic Congress political organization. Now, Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell, under whose portfolio finance falls, will present the budget at a meeting of the House of Representatives December 5th. Now, this will be under the theme Vision 2035, People-Centered Transformation, laying the foundation for resilience, empowerment, and growth. Now, speculation is that the year 2035 is being taken into account as the culmination of the global 15-year Sustainable Development Plan, as it was purported by the United Nations, considering the economies of small states in a new era where technology and modernization runs the gamut. Now, since the SDG was launched years ago, government throughout the region and beyond give their commitment to this global policy framework. Now, at the presentation of the Grenada Budget 2023, the major focus will lean on the much talked about transformation agenda. In shaping the budget, the Minister of Finance has been up and about many parishes and with the ministry officials going to the parishes with what is noted as the budget consultations, gathering the views, the ideas, the opinions, and suggestions of the populace. Now, Prime Minister Mitchell has said that coming out of the consultations and the budget retreat, his government has selected 6 areas that will be the focus for the next 5 years. Health and wellness, transforming the education sector with particular emphasis on youth and sports, agriculture, food security, the creative economy, and marine economy as well. All right, now a parliamentary debate on the 2023 budget will begin Thursday with the opposition leader, Dr. Keith Mitchell's response. All right. Now, the next thing that we have to tell you about, boy, Now, the tourism minister, Lennox Andrew, he's heading a Grenada delegation at the 22nd World Travel and Tourism Council's WTTC Global Summit, and that's in Saudi Arabia. Now, it's the first time a Grenada delegation is attending the summit. That's right. Now, this year's theme, Travel for a Better Future, is based on promoting sustainable growth for the travel and tourism sectors. Now, this summit brings together tourism delegates from 185 countries and 25 regions to report and discuss the environmental, economic, and the employment impact of travel and tourism globally. CEO of the Grenada Tourism Authority, that's Petra Roach, sees the discussions at the summit amplifying the commitment of the public and private sector to ensure responsible and inclusive growth in the global community. Now, the summit, according to her, is highlighting the way many economies have shifted or increased their focus on the tourism industry. And for Grenada, this means the authority must focus on the uniqueness of our beautiful island. All right? Good. Now we rush in. I have something very interesting for us tonight. I'll tell you this. We have a discussion with individuals, so psychologists and stuff like that. As I was saying earlier, we are going to be talking about subtle forms of gender-based violence. You know, I've been seeing certain discussions happening in the past few weeks and days and so on, and I just thought it was necessary for us to have that discussion on the program tonight. So yes, we have our panel, people who are usually very busy, but they are very hands-on when it comes to dealing with these issues, and we are very pleased to have them with us on the program tonight. All right, so I'm just trying to tell you some of the things that you need to know about right now, and then we're going to get straight into that discussion. Oh yeah, let me see what else I have to tell all you. It's a big day for Sukie tomorrow as he heads back to court. Y'all know who Sukie is? Well, Sukie has been breaking the internet ever since he came to Grenada. You understand? The man have a kind of tune. And so, owing to the popularity of the tune, he was listed as one of the performers for last weekend's concert. However, that, my friends, did not go as planned. Got himself in a little bit of trouble. Well, it might be more than just a little bit of trouble. The 36-year-old entertainer is actually from Dominica. He was remanded to His Majesty's prisons on Monday after his first court appearance. Now he's charged with one count of indecent assault coming out of an incident that happened over the weekend. We join our colleague Tonya St. Louis Lawrence for that report.
Edwards was arrested on Saturday and charged with one count of indecent assault. He's accused of touching a teenage Guyanese national living in Canada who was at the time one of the guests in a resort in the south of the island. The 36-year-old Dominican performer was expected to perform on Saturday night at an event at the National Cricket Stadium. On Saturday afternoon, videos began circulating on social media showing him being led away by police, according to reports from one of the media entities in Dominica. In September 2022, the entertainer was arrested in his home country and charged with battery on a female as well as threats. Edward, who was remanded into custody for the alleged offense, was able to secure bail a month later. Since his release in October, the artist has performed at several shows around the region. The trial for the offense of threat and battery is expected to commence in the Roseau Magistrate Court on December 6th. Represented here by attorney-at-law Peter David, Edwards appeared before Magistrate Teddy St. Louis at the No. 1 Magistrates Court in St. George's and was denied bail. He has since been remanded to the Richmond Hill Prison and will reappear in court on December 1st, 2022. According to Grenada's Criminal Code, indecent assault is a summary offense that carries a maximum term of 5 years imprisonment.
Oh, Oh boy. Look trouble. Look trouble. Now, looking at the pretty larceny issue, the Royal Grenada Police Force says with the Yuletide season, complaints coming in are increasing. Yes, they are saying that complaints are coming from farmers and so on, that people thieving their produce, even when it's at a very, very young stage, not even ready to harvest as yet. And people say they go in and check out their products, their produce, and nothing. In some cases, produce, what's remaining is being destroyed by the thieves. And when they go in and sell for less to nothing. The police say they have been getting a lot of complaints. And what's sad? They are saying that that is not new. The police say that it is not new, that every time it's around Christmas, when the farmers need to make $5 to sell a little ginger, to sell a little sorrel, and thing, people are coming in and stealing the produce and going and sell it. Again, and selling it for close to nothing. The farmers are crying out for help. They're crying out to the police to intervene in the situation, and the police has. But the police say there's only so much they can do if, because the difference about pretty larcenies is very hard to trace. Because somebody come in the garden in the night, they go with things. How do you find them? How do you find them? However, the police, they are warning citizens that if you are caught purchasing stolen goods, you could be in for a lot of trouble. And encourage you to only purchase from authorized sales personnel. You understand? Or else you're in problems. A lot of problem. You understand? All you. Please be guided accordingly. I have a little thing on my program there to show you. Let me see if I get it. Alright. We just have to tell all the good things too, Not only the hardcore thing. You see that picture? Alright. Born out of the vision of the laundry manager at Sandals Grenada Resort, Doreen Batiste. The New Life organization, Nulo Hospitality Department, has received a suite of kitchen appliances, service utensils, and equipment to bolster the capacity of the institution to help its students chart a career in the fastest recovering industry in tourism. Now, more than 250 food preparation, bartending, and restaurant service students are now better able to execute their practical training on newly acquired food preparation, cookery, and serving equipment, they say. The project forms part of the 40th Sustainable Program of the Sandals Foundation to mark the 40th anniversary of the Sandals Resort International. Now, project ideas included recommendations from the resort team members on the 6 core areas connected to the tourism industry, identifying hospitality training and skills development as their thematic area of interest. Laundry manager and avid Sandals Foundation ambassador Doreen Batiste explained the rationale for her nomination of Nulo for support. She says, I chose Nulo for my team member support project because I wanted to give back to the community. You understand? And Nulo gives second chances to sometimes people who are forgotten, young people in particular, who are forgotten in our communities. And by equipping this life-changing hospitality art department with the tools and equipment needed for training, students of all ages will be able to develop the vocational and unparalleled life skills needed to chart their career in the industry that I love. That's according to Batista. So we have to say congratulations to you too, because you're opening the door for a lot of opportunities for young people, and that cannot be erased. That cannot be reversed. So good job. Good job. We doesn't say that enough. Good job. Folks, it's a very important discussion that I want us to be involved in tonight in terms of subtle forms of gender-based violence. And we have guests with us tonight. Let me prepare that and come back to you in about 10 seconds. And so welcome back, everyone. As we were telling you that we will be having a special discussion on our program tonight, and we have guests online with us. We have Mrs. Nicole Johnson James, who is a clinical and community psychologist. We have also Mr. Arthur Pear, who's an advocate against gender-based violence. And we have also Mr. Pearson Stroud, who is a counselor. Lady and gentlemen, good night to you.
Hello, Mikey. Good night.
And good night to you listening.
Good night to your viewers. You're listening on. Good night.
Yes, okay. To the viewers as well. And to each other, good night.
Hi. I have to say that the pleasure is mine, really, to have you three with us tonight to have this discussion. Folks, tonight we are going to be talking about subtle forms of gender-based violence. So first we're going to get into the definition and how we can identify those, and we're going to have an in-depth conversation about this. So again, we are going to start our discussion. We are going to start with lady first. Hello to you again and welcome, Mrs. Nicole Johnson James. Welcome, and we are happy to have you on the program. So, the first question that I would like to ask you, in terms of subtle forms of gender-based violence, how would you, in your own words, define subtle forms of gender-based violence? How would you identify or describe it?
Thank you for having me, Mikey. So the subtle forms, it's not visible as the physical form of violence. So with the physical form, it may be a grab, something that would leave a mark, right? The subtle form, it's not visible, but it hurts just as the physical ones would hurt. And I suspect you would ask for examples at some point in time.
Yes, we will in a while, yes.
Right, so,
all right, thank you very much for that explanation. Mr. Pierre?
Well, basically the same thing that Brenda Lee said, all right, Mrs. Johnson James said. Also, when we look at subtle forms, a lot of times it may not necessarily, certainly it's not physical. Okay, it might be your words. It might be the way that somebody makes you feel by the things that they tell you. It might be a joke that the person make. That's you feel offended, but because it is in the spirit of a joke, you might take it, but internally you're not comfortable with it. All right. So that's my definition of that subtle form of violence.
All right, thanks for that explanation. And we are going to go over to our final guest for his definition about that. Pearson?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to really add anything. The two presenters before kind of have it, they kind of hit the nail on the head. The only thing I would put with it to build, in terms of building the definition, is that we have to be aware that while physical violence or physical hurt might be the infliction of the hurt is there to be seen, it is no less hurtful to be treated in a violent way in terms of the ways that my two colleagues have spoken. In fact, I want to add to this that it may very well carry more hurt because it is so invisible, so to speak. And because of that invisibility, persons tend not to address it, and the repercussions and the negative consequences that come with it can go for even further. So that's the only thing I would really add to what the two colleagues have said.
And are you able to like somewhat give us some examples of subtle forms of violence?
Well, I must admit to you, and I know not everyone will be very happy with everything that I say tonight. The truth is, if we really ought to speak to subtle violence, and those are that word violence is a very, very, it's a heavy word. And so if I were to say in terms of subtle violence and what are some of the examples, I think violence tends to be primarily either physical or verbal. And my colleagues may want to add on, but if from my looking at all of this, a lot of the other subtle violence would come through verbation. Whether it is verbally bullying somebody or making them feel less of a person. To me, that is the main way that subtle types of domestic gender-based violence can be perpetuated. And might I dare say that it can happen on both sides, because as we say, it's gender-based, so we're recognizing and disaggregating the fact that both males and females may very well be perpetrators as well as victims of that.
Yeah, and I'm happy that you brought up that, because sometimes in that conversation we don't seem to have a place. Men, we tend to be seen as the perpetrators and not necessarily the victims of such forms of crimes or violence. When it gets extreme, we say crime. I do not know if any of the other two guests would like to speak to that in terms of examples that you would like to highlight of subtle forms of gender-based violence.
Yes, Mikey. And Mr. Schultz spoke about physical and verbal violence, right? I think sexual probably may fall under, it's possible that it could fall under physical, but I'd like to itemize it as a form of violence that women and girls in particular, we already established that domestic violence, it's committed against men, it's committed against women, right?
Right.
But sexual violence against women and girls, as an example. Isolation from families and friends could be a subtle example of violence, right? So the person is overly jealous and possessive, right, of the partner. And they want to isolate them from the friends and the family. So why do you have to go there? And sometimes it begins, as the word says, subtle, not easily identifiable, right? So why do you have to go over there? We're together. Am I not sufficient for you? They will come up with all sorts of things to contribute to the person feeling guilty, right? Blaming could be another one. Blaming them for all sorts of things, simple things in the family, or maybe things that they probably have contributed to. Another subtle thing that happens a lot of the time is minimizing something that is important to the person or something that is hurtful to the person. So Arthur earlier on used jokes as an example, right? So the person may say, this is causing me to feel uncomfortable. And, oh, you can take a joke. And it's a little joke I make, us as a people, we like to say, give thing size. So it's a little joke I make. And the ultimate manipulating, right? I mean, some people are master manipulators. And the manipulating could be done by using the power. It doesn't always have to involve money. It could involve the things that they say. It could involve interfering with opportunities for, the survivor, because right. I'm convinced that they're not victims. They're survivor. We have to, do everything in our power to advocate and empower them. So to refer to them as a victim is just adding more weight to King Sugar. So these are some of the examples I, could readily think of.
Okay, also you wanted to jump in
And
here?
just borrowing from what Brenda Lee said, and putting it within the masculine context. A lot of times, name calling, right? And this is something that a lot of men have complained about. Not the name calling, but you may have a partner who is making more money than you. Okay, we have a lot of cases like that with in relationships. So the female is making more money than the male, and he feels that she's manipulating him in terms of the fact that he's not making a lot of money. Okay, so his name calling, she almost batters him over the head with the fact that she had to pay for this, she had to pay for that, she had to pay for the other, and that again is a form of a subtle form of gender-based violence.
Okay, great. So based on your conversation. Sorry, based on our conversation so far, I'm hearing that this form of violence can show up in relationships, particularly. But are there scenarios where you can find that sort of violence taking place, maybe in the workplace or so? Have you seen that in your career? Have you seen scenarios like that?
Most definitely, most definitely. We do have something called sexual harassment. All right, and again, that's another. It falls under all of that. This subtle form of gender-based violence. You may have persons, again, if I go back to the issue of joke, culturally, I think males and females, even within the workplace, and almost everywhere you go, they make jokes, and sometimes persons are uncomfortable. All right. Is sometimes people might make comments about persons' bodies or body parts, and that again is a subtle form of gender-based violence. So whenever that individual begins to feel offended or uncomfortable, we can classify it and put it within that bracket of subtle forms of gender-based violence.
And do we see scenarios showing up within, let's say, friendships or any other place, or if there's any other place or scenarios that you would like to highlight? I'll give you guys an opportunity to do that right now.
If you're permitting to come in here, I think I think my two colleagues can be on this. Most of the instances where we have any form of infractions, violence, or however you may want to frame it, is based on a power dynamic. And so everywhere you find human beings are existing in a power dynamic, you're going to find the possibility and you're going to find instances where people who have more power or perceive the power have a tendency to use that power to have their way or to do things without what they may term as without impunity, because they feel that, I can do this, or they convince themselves that this is okay. They've somehow fooled themselves into thinking that some of these things are acceptable and that the people don't mind. And so, I think, in my opinion, wherever human beings exist within the concept of interaction, you will find things like that. So, I mean, literally anywhere, we're talking about it anywhere.
Okay, Mrs. Johnson James, do you want to come in here with on that point?
I think a lack of respect as well, especially for us as women. Sometimes in public spaces, you'd hear men blotting out such disrespectful comments, or maybe they catcall at a woman who did not respond because she, would not respond to that. And the level of disrespect and violent things that they would say that they want to do to that person and what you're playing. And so, yes, it's the power dynamic, and there's also the aspect of a lack of respect for us as women.
Where does the online dynamic come into play. Do you see a lot of that happening online, or would you say that the online, that the social media and that existence out there where we can interface with almost every and anybody and have an audience? Do you see that affecting, making it worse, or helping people to become even more violent with that access to social media?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that might be one of our biggest problems right now. Right? Social media has become a mixed blessing. We could use it for good and we could use it for bad. So some people behind the screen, they can say anything. There might be videos of people's private activities. That's a form of violence. Somebody just intruding on invading somebody else's privacy, and people are sharing and people are just commenting and saying all sorts of things. One of the worst I've heard recently, well, seen on social media, is somebody commenting, why doesn't that person go and commit suicide? That's violence. Because they feel, there's a new pandemic amongst our people, freedom of speech. People do not know that the freedom of speech comes with responsibility and accountability. So they feel that they get this thing and they want to post and create sensationalism, and who first post it and who can get the most likes, not even considering the impact it's going to have on the person, their families, and just a mere human being just like you. What would you want if you are in a similar situation?
Okay.
I want to bring a different dimension. I totally agree with everything that Ms. Johnson James said. But culturally, if we look at some of the songs, some of the music videos that we have, and how they objectify and how they minimize, for the want of a better word, the value of women and even men, right? Some of the things that are said and in some of these songs, and then you have the nation singing and joining, and it is a problem, because when you have young children listening to those things, and they have to look at their companions as they grow, what do you think their thoughts on that would be? All right, so it is something that we have enabled in our society, and it is now really and truly drawing out into something that is negative.
Right, Mr. Stroud, you wanted to jump in here?
No. I think my two colleagues have represented the concept very well.
Okay. Mm-hmm. But do we see question here for any of you? Do we see a possibility of this escalating, escalating into a more physical form of violence? For example, rape, or blackmail, or any such. What are the likelihoods of that happening?
The likelihood increases significantly. In fact, that is where it begins. This is where those type of very overt types of violence begins. And so while we may be very subtle in the beginning, when one does not, when one is within that concept of power, when one feels that he has a right or she has a right to speak that way, or to do this or to do that, or that, and then when that person, for example, may resist and may say, I don't like this, or they may ignore, that person in their mind feels, no, that's unacceptable. You should be succumbing to my advances, so to speak, for example. And of course, when that does not happen, some people graduate, unfortunately, to more visible forms of having their way. So yes, it begins subtly, but can advance into very, very dangerous places.
I just want to make a comment here, Mikey. Disrespect is disrespect, regardless of how you twist it, turn it, whether size it or make it. Disrespect is disrespect. And one of the things about that is and they gradually growing into something that might be physical, is that people need to recognize it. All right. Now, we are in a society where sometimes culturally we accept things even though they are wrong. We look at things, we hear things, and sometimes you go so accustomed in hearing it and accepting it that we believe that that's a norm. Okay, so there are some, and I want to say there are sometimes some young females that would accept when a guy called them a particular name and they run to the person and you understand what I'm saying, they basically would enable that sort of behavior. Now you get into a relationship and this young man or this young woman continues to do the same thing, continues to call you that and all of that, and then you begin to get offended. But the person is saying, but hello, you were accepting that before. How come all of a sudden you're kind of changing that now? Right? And therein sometimes lies the conflict, and that can graduate into something greater.
Okay. What I want us to talk about, how does these subtle forms of gender-based violence affect well, I know some of you wouldn't agree. Well, all right, you know what? I stand corrected. So I'm not going to say victim, okay? But how does it affect individuals who are on the receiving end of that sort of violence?
Human beings.
Go ahead.
Human beings who experience any form of trauma, and that is what pretty much is, go through a sense of, feeling inadequate, feelings of inadequacy. It can graduate into to them feeling or perpetrating certain practices of self-harm. It graduates. Mentally, a person who feels or is convinced that they are inferior, especially over a period of time, a few things happen. When that person becomes somehow have bought into the idea, they begin to live in or to appropriate practices that fit that particular concept. So I'm inferior. I behave in an inferior manner. I allow you or another person to control me because I can do better. This is who I am. Those type of things happen. It is not until individuals get to the place where they can recognize that they are being hurt in this way, that they recognize that they are being damaged psychologically by this particular partner, friend, experience, relationship, and then they begin to seek help to come out of that type of environment, as well as come out of that type of mindset. That is the only time people really get the help that's required. But it moves on.
Any of the other panelists would like to jump in on here with this question? Okay.
Just one other thing I want to add, and that is the feeling of fear. Again, the power dynamic, the feeling of fear. I am so fearful, right? Because this is graduating into a dominant kind of relationship, and I become fearful. And in any relationship, no one should have any levels of fear. All right, but that sometimes is what actually happens, right? And then you have the real violence taking place, the mashing up of things, the destroying of furniture, and throwing water and throwing food and things like that happening as part of the whole mix.
Okay, no,
But it
Mrs. Johnson.
also, it also interferes with I sort of like was going to use the example of women because I mean I'm a woman, right? But again, we establish that this happens, both ways. It interferes with the person's self-esteem, their confidence, how I feel about myself, how much value I have placed. These levels of subtle intimidation and harassment and all of that, because it's not physical, again, it doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt as much. And maybe the physical, well, not maybe, the physical actually heals faster, right? So imagine that level of intimidation and fear that person has to live with. It leads not only to the things that Mr. Schroed said, but post-traumatic stress disorder. So this goes on for a longer period. There are times we hear stories of people just jumping up in the night. They're unable to sleep properly.
Right.
Their appetite is just dwindling, or maybe they're eating more, comfort eating, as we would say, just to cope. So it's a lot of negative ways these things could impact the person who is experiencing it.
Okay. Now, this seems to be very serious. So, what can be
It is.
done to eliminate the subtle form of violence? How does a nation like ours nip this in the bud before it escalates and get into something more of a bigger problem for the country?
I think education, right? And the education begins with, Arthur mentioned earlier on, some of the songs and the lyrics in the song. And we have to learn to call a spade a spade. We cannot, as a people, promote songs with lyrics that speak to how to bang a woman here and call her vagina different derogatory names, and people are jumping and screaming, and it probably will win, whether it's road match or whatever it is. We cannot celebrate these things, normalize it, and say, well, it's the season and it's carnival. And then when things get out of hand, we want to have walks and talks against these things, right? Another, as I said at the beginning, education. So we should educate our women, our girls, our boys, our populace on what violence looks like, what subtle forms of violence looks like. So they will be able to catch it when it's happening. They will be able to check it, check the person who is doing it, and they'll be able to change it. Change, not, you cannot change another person's behavior, but change in terms of using your voice to speak up and speak out against it, telling somebody else. So those are amongst the things I would suggest.
Wow, thanks. That's very profound. Mr. Stroud, you wanted to add to that?
I would say raising this, and of course, that self-awareness can only come when one is willing and open to learning. That can only come at that time. As human beings, we block ourselves from learning, we block ourselves from growing because we are not willing to learn. We're not willing to listen to another person's opinion. We somehow have come to the place in our discourse, in our interaction, that because I disagree with you, then you're my enemy. Then we have to move away from that way of existing. I need to be able to disagree or to have a different opinion and listen to you. When that listening takes place, and I'm honest enough to be open to hear where you're coming from. Now, in the beginning, I may not agree with you. I may not agree with the education thing. I have to openly begin self-awareness. I begin to then to question myself. How is this how really these people are? Self-awareness is one of the main things I think we have to get. Of course, Mr. James said, willingness to change. I'm willing to change because many of us can be tempted with our reality. but not very many of us are in a place where we are willing to change in reality when we are confronted with that reality. So self-awareness and a willingness to change would be the two I would talk.
All right, thank you very much. And Mr. Pierre, you want to jump in here?
No, I just wanted to add one thing. With that self-awareness comes self-respect and respect for others. I mean, within the context of a relationship, if I respect you, there are some things that I would not say about you or say to you that would make you feel less than a person. In any relationship, what you want to do is to, continue to build that individual so you have a very good relationship going forward. So I wouldn't say any derogatory things. I wouldn't do anything to harm you or to make you feel less than a person. So respect, again, respect for self and respect for others. If you respect yourself, there are some things that you would not accept. Okay, whether somebody call you a particular name or treat you in a particular way, you would not accept that. So that's just my addition to my learned colleagues.
All right, perfect. All right, so folks, it's been a really interesting conversation, and I hope that you're learning a thing or two from it, because I myself am, So in some areas I might be a little guilty too. So, so I know just before we run off, I know that there are a few things that are happening this week. Well, in fact, there's something happening tomorrow, I believe, and I want to give you an opportunity to talk about it. I know World AIDS Day is coming up, and of course there's going to be a candlelight vigil that's going to be happening. So you guys want to talk to us about that as well?
Yeah, every 1st of December, we recognize World AIDS Day. We remember persons who would have been infected and affected and would have died from HIV and AIDS. So we have World AIDS Day, the 1st of December, all right? And the 1st of December is actually tomorrow. There is an organized activity where there will be a candlelight vigil. Why am I saying village? Candlelight vigil on the Esplanade, all right? And there is a walk around the city and then coming back to the Esplanade. Just to pay the respects of persons who are affected, infected, and those who would have passed.
All right.
So we are actually, we are asking the general public to, be there and be part and parcel of it. All right. We have lost some of our sons and daughters to HIV. Okay. Sometimes we don't hear much about it, but it is a disease that is still there, and it's still affecting and infecting persons.
I think a lot of the attention is on the pandemic and other things.
Yes.
And so the whole issue of HIV and AIDS is somewhat on the back burner. So people, I believe, not hearing a lot about prevention and the fact that it is out there still affecting people. I think people get a little careless and cause themselves in some cases to be at risk where that is concerned.
Yeah, but further to that, one of the things that I believe sometimes people, back in many years ago, when you're dealing with a disease, persons would look at individuals and they see they're losing weight or something, and you begin to say, oh, this person is HIV infected and all of that. The medications have actually gotten better. Persons are taking the medications. Medication are available, all right, and persons are bouncing back. Okay, but they are individuals, even though they are on meds. They have the ability to spread the disease. So we have to be careful. All the things that were taught about prevention, and so the ABCs about prevention, abstinence, being faithful to one partner, the use of a condom, education, all of those things still apply and are still applicable in dealing with the issue of HIV and AIDS.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. All right, so we have exhausted our time. I've been really, really happy that you've decided to come onto the program to have that discussion with us on the subtle forms of gender-based violence. And before we wrap up today, I would like to give you an opportunity for any parting words or so. Mr. Pierre, since you have the floor, I'll start with you.
Yes. Again, the issue of gender-based violence exists, and it sometimes exists very, very subtly. We must be aware of the things that we say. We must be guarded about the things that we say and how we interact with our friends, our family, our loved ones. Understanding that if you mention something and it is an offense to somebody, somebody may feel offended. If you are the ones receiving and you are offended, you need to speak up about it. And if you're the one that is causing the offense, you need to be guarded and understand that you have to respect the other individual as much as you would like them to respect you.
All right, well said. Thanks again for being with us, all right?
Pleasure is mine.
Okay, and we will now move over to a female on the panel today, Mrs. Johnson James. Your parting words tonight?
So, I would like to say to women and girls, and to anybody for that matter, who is experiencing any form of violence, you matter. And your worth is not determined by whether or not your partner or anybody recognizes it or acknowledges it. You have worth and you are worthy. At any point in your life, women and girls, at any point in your life, any moment, you have the power to say, this is not how I want my story to end. And you can change it. You can stand up and you can speak up. And there is support. So never suffer alone.
Oh, thank you very much for sharing that with us. I know that this must touch someone tonight. All right, thanks very much. And we will go to Mr. Stroud. Any final words for us, Mr. Stroud?
Yeah, I would like to reinforce the fact that as humanity, we have a responsibility to treat each other with respect, with care, and with love. If we really are serious about having a human race, the only race I know of, if we are serious about that, then we have to understand that as we interact with each other, that though I may think or view a person as inferior or somehow deserving whatever ritual that I may want, remember that life is reciprocal. One day you may not be the one in power. You may not be the one with the power in the dynamic. And how would you feel if you were to be treated in a way that made you feel inferior? Let's remember that we have to treat each other with care and respect. Let us remember that there's a golden rule that says if you treat like how you want them to be, like how you would want to be treated, or even the platinum rule, as I've learned to read, take time to know what the other person needs and give it to them. Invest time in knowing what that other person needs, to feel wanted, to feel rejected, and give them that.
Wow, well said. Thank you very much, Mr. Stroud, and thank you very much to the entire panel. This has been a really fruitful discussion, and I would like to thank you for taking the time off your busy schedule and of your family to spend that with us, to at least to give us an idea as to how we can identify those subtle forms of gender-based violence. Thanks again.
And Mikey, thank you for using your platform in such a valuable way.
Okay, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. Thank you. All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
All right, folks, and that's going to pull the curtains down on our discussion for tonight. And I do hope that, Kirina, I saw you guys were commenting and some of you were talking about the role that the media plays and the kind of music that is sung by the entertainers and so on. So I do take note of all of those things in terms of how we as a people can contribute towards, addressing this problem in a positive way. All right, so thanks for that. So what we're going to do right now is we are going to take a quick break and come back. And when I come back, we will have just the weather for you. All right, so we're going to come back. When we come back, we will have the weather. Stay tuned.
Running low on groceries? Why not visit realvalueiga.com and experience our new online shopping platform? Place your order, then go out and enjoy your day to spend more time with friends and family. Free delivery available within select locations or in-store pickup available. Sounds simple, right? It is. Stress less, live more with Real Value IGA online store, where good food begins.
Affordable quality products delivered to you via superb service. We are superb distributors, wholesalers and authorized agents for trusted products you know and love. Like Rika Juices, Pure Heaven products, Bibin diapers, New Bright laundry detergent, Allegra pasta and more.
Contact Superb Distributors at 435-2948 for superb quality and service.
Diamond Intercontinental Jewelry Store now has amazing deals, special discounted prices on wedding sets, watches and selected jewelry. We sell top brand jewelry and watches like Citizen, Guess and Klein and G-Shock, all at the best prices in Grenada. We also buy scrap gold and offer the best deals and customer service on the island. Opening hours Mondays to Saturdays 9:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Diamond Intercontinental Jewelry Store, located at the Esplanade Mall, St. George's, Grenada. Visit our brand new remodeled store or call us on telephone number 414-3114, 232-1234 or WhatsApp 533-1581. Sale is on for a limited time only.
We got the call on our way home that something was wrong. When we got here, we saw that the entire house was engulfed in flames. Just sitting there and looking at basically your whole life investment going up in flames. It did take a toll on us as a family. Once we decided to rebuild, the thought came up to use the Housing Authority of Grenada. After they sent in their quotation, which we thought was very, very reasonable, we decided to go with Housing Authority of Grenada. They were very helpful. They visited the site weekly. The staff was very professional. The contractor was very professional. They delivered our house on time. The quality of work was amazing. And as you can see today, we are not disappointed. I would definitely recommend Housing Authority of Grenada for all your construction needs. With their affordable costs, high level of customer service, guidance, and building expertise, they will help you as they help us.
Hey everyone, season's greetings from all of us at Allied Laboratories, and a special thank you to our Grenville family. We are celebrating 1 year of serving you.
Fit for life and Allied Laboratories, providing quality care and expertise. Fit for life and Allied Laboratories, see our in-house doctors and our pharmacies. Expert care and quality tests. When it comes to your health, you deserve the best. Fit for life and Allied Laboratories, we're taking care of Grenada.
Infinite Contractors and and machinery. We are your one-stop engineering and consultancy company with experience locally, regionally, and internationally. We provide excavation services and engineering consultancy, construction of residential and commercial structures, civil works such as drainage, retaining walls, roads, concrete patio services, paving services, concrete driveway services, remodeling and renovation, painting services, styling services, and so much more. Ask about our rental services of excavators, heavy equipment, metal formwork, and steel prop. Contact us today via telephone number 537-9675 or email infinitecontractors19@gmail.com.
Gifts of love with dread. Bringing love for you this year. Communion showing that we care. With gifts of love with dread.
It's your Gifts of Love for Cheer 2.0. 'Tis the season for holly jolly days at the communal. It's all about sharing the warmth of this season with those you love. Getting on this special loan, taking advantage of great interest rates with no principal payments until January 2023. Share the gift of love. Make it a merrier Christmas with the communal. Exciting prizes for members throughout the promotion. For we are your Santa this Christmas. Offer ends January 31st, 2023. Lending terms and conditions apply.
Batteries. All roads lead to Quality Services Limited for the best deals on batteries for all applications: cars, SUVs, pickups, buses, medium and heavy duty trucks, construction equipment, generators, boats, and more. European made with the highest amps and comes with a 12 months warranty. Yes, you heard it right. 1 year with the best quality and price. Quality Services Limited for the best deals on batteries. First left of the Lansopines Road. Call 444-4323 or WhatsApp 410-8070 or 405-7010. Quality Services Limited for all batteries.
The Nawasa app brings the power of Nawasa's customer service experience to you. Instant, conversational, and smart. Easy access anywhere. Get bill balance, transaction history for up to 6 months, report a fault, link to websites, view payment centers, contact information, push notifications, and multi-tenant accounts, all in a secure login platform. Like a self-service concierge app, mobile.nawasa.gd gets you the support you need much faster. Available on both Android and iOS platforms. mobile.nawasa.gd, your customer support companion. Nawasa, committed to meeting customers' needs.
Alrighty, and so let's take a look at the weather, see what's happening there. Remember, the weather is submitted by the Met Office. We can tell you that the weather is mostly fair and breezy, becoming partly cloudy at times with brief isolated showers. Tonight's minimum temperature 24 degrees Celsius, winds northeasterly to easterly at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Seas moderate to slightly rough with waves 6 to 8 feet in northerly to northeasterly swells. A marine advisory remains in effect. We want to take a look at the weather for tomorrow. We can tell you that the weather for Thursday is expected to be partly cloudy, windy, and hazy with brief isolated daytime showers becoming moderate overnight. Max temperature for tomorrow 30.5 degrees Celsius and a minimum 24. Winds northeasterly to easterly at 14 to 24 miles per hour. Seas moderate with waves 4 to 7 feet in northerly to northeasterly swells. A small craft advisory is in effect or will be in effect for tomorrow. That's it, folks. Before I wrap, I would like to say hello to the viewers on YouTube, Michelle, Ans, and Suzanne. Who else is it? Jane, blessings to you as well. Soraya, hello to you. Gloria, and who else? All the folks who are currently on YouTube, we're saying hello to you. Likewise, we'd like to say hello to those of you who are on Facebook. Stephanie, how are you? Javar, Tracy, Kireen, Monet, Bermuda, Ezran, Cindy, and everyone else who's on the program. We say hello to you and thank you for joining us. All right, Sharon, Stacy, Tracy, Ezron, Eunice, Celine, Barbara. Did I say Yvonne? Who else? And everyone else. Blessings to you again. Hazel. Okay. Thank you to the sharing committee. Adonna, Vicky, Erlin. Who else? Guys, what's going on with your shares? I'm seeing from my end it says 35. So I'm guessing that Facebook is acting up again, because that's the lowest amount of shares I've ever seen on any of my programs since we started. Karen, Kirin, Cindy, Sharon. So I really don't know what's going on with this platform. Maybe Facebook is ready to sell out. Oh, yeah, Facebook is maybe ready to sell out to some other company. So I don't know. It's going to destroy its own platform and then probably sell it and then create something new. I don't know what else to say. But anyway, for those of you who have not yet shared, I would really like to encourage you to go ahead and so do. All right, guys. We appreciate you again. For those of you who are Kirin, no, that's okay. That's not normal. So I would believe that more people are experiencing the same. Because look, Stephanie saying yes, Facebook is in that to everyone. So no, I believe that people are not able to share. All right, people are not able to share. It's only some people that can share, not a lot of people. So it's a Facebook issue. All right, Liz and everyone else, blessings to you. It is a Facebook issue. There's no way that our shared numbers would be that low. There's no way. All right, so I know that it's a Facebook issue. Don't worry, it's all right. Don't feel bad, okay? Some people are able to share while others aren't. Most people who I ask tonight through private message, they are not able to share it, okay? So don't feel anyway. Don't feel anyway. So guys, take care of yourselves, and I'm hoping to be back with you tomorrow, God's willing, same time, same place. Let's go. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, we all say, Ja! No. Take care, guys. I love and appreciate you all the time. Take care, take care, take care. And don't forget Ultra Tech Services in the Spiceland Mall. They continue to have their sale that is going on right now. It's 2 more days or so for the sale. So you would want to, organize all yourself. Organize all yourself. Okay? Good. Take care.